Question 1. Which U.S. president served 2 non-consecutive terms? Your options are: Option A. Ulysses S. Grant. Option B. Grover Cleveland. Option C. William McKinley. Option D. Andrew Jackson. The correct option is option B. Grover Cleveland is the only U.S. president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. He was both the 22nd and 24th President of the United States. He served from 1885 to 1889, lost re-election to Benjamin Harrison, then came back and won again in 1892. This unique fact often confuses people when counting total presidents, as Cleveland is counted twice in the official numbering. His political comeback was remarkable and marked a rare example of a political figure regaining the presidency after losing it. Question 2. Which U.S. state has the only royal palace on American soil? Your options are: Option A. Virginia. Option B. Hawaii. Option C. California. Option D. Georgia. The correct option is option B. The only royal palace on U.S. soil is Iolani Palace in Honolulu, Hawaii. It was the residence of the Hawaiian monarchs during the late 1800s. King Kalakaua built it in 1882, and it remained the royal residence until the overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy in 1893. After that, Hawaii eventually became a U.S. territory and later the 50th state. The palace is now a museum and remains a symbol of the unique history and culture of Hawaii. Most people don't realize Hawaii had kings and queens just like Europe did. Question 3. What U.S. city is known as the City of Brotherly Love? Your options are: Option A. Boston. Option B. Philadelphia. Option C. New Orleans. Option D. Detroit. The correct option is option B. Philadelphia's nickname, the City of Brotherly Love, comes from the Greek words philos, love, and adelphos, brother, which combine to mean brotherly love. The city was founded by William Penn in 1682 as a place of religious tolerance and peace. Philadelphia played a huge role in American history. It was where the Declaration of Independence and Constitution were signed. The name reflects the spirit Penn wanted for the city. Even today, the nickname is used to promote community and kindness in Philly. Question 4. What is the tallest mountain in the U.S.? Your options are: Option A. Mount Rainier. Option B. Mount Whitney. Option C. Denali, Mount McKinley. Option D. Mount Elbert. The correct option is option C. Denali, formerly known as Mount McKinley, is the tallest mountain in the United States. It's located in Alaska and stands at 20,310 feet, 6,190 meters, above sea level. The name Denali means the high one in the native Koyukon Athabascan language. The U.S. government officially changed the name from Mount McKinley to Denali in 2015 to honor its original native name. Denali is not only the tallest in the U.S., but also the 3rd most prominent peak in the world. Its harsh weather conditions and high elevation make it a major challenge for mountaineers. Question 5. What amendment gave women the right to vote? Your options are: Option A. 15th. Option B. 19th. Option C. 21st. Option D. 13th. The correct option is option B. The 19th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1920, granted women the right to vote. This came after decades of activism by the women's suffrage movement, including figures like Susan B. Anthony, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and many others. The amendment marked a major victory for gender equality in the United States. Before this, some states allowed women to vote, but there was no federal guarantee. The 19th Amendment ensured all women, regardless of state laws, had the constitutional right to vote. It was a huge step toward equality in American democracy. Question 6. Which U.S. state has the most active volcanoes? Your options are: Option A. California. Option B. Washington. Option C. Alaska. Option D. Hawaii. The correct option is option C. Alaska has the most active volcanoes in the United States, with over 130 volcanoes and volcanic fields. Its location on the Pacific Ring of Fire makes it highly geologically active. These volcanoes are closely monitored due to their potential impact on air travel and local communities. Some notable volcanoes include Mount Redoubt and Mount Pavlov. Despite being sparsely populated, Alaska's volcanic activity is a major feature of its landscape and ecosystem. Question 7. Which American author wrote Leaves of Grass? Your options are: Option A, Mark Twain. Option B, Walt Whitman. Option C, Nathaniel Hawthorne. Option D, Edgar Allan Poe. The correct option is option B. Walt Whitman authored Leaves of Grass, a foundational piece in American literature. First published in 1855, the poetry collection broke traditional verse forms and celebrated the American spirit, individualism, and nature. Whitman revised the work many times during his life. He's regarded as the father of free verse, and his writing had a profound influence on later poets and authors. Leaves of Grass remains a key part of literature and is studied widely in schools and universities. Question 8. What year did the U.S. officially adopt the Star-Spangled Banner as the national anthem? Your options are: Option A, 1776. Option B, 1812. Option C, 1931. Option D, 1901. The correct option is option C. The Star-Spangled Banner was adopted as the official U.S. national anthem in 1931. Despite being written during the War of 1812 by Francis Scott Key, the lyrics were inspired by the survival of Fort McHenry during a British attack. While the song was widely used before, it wasn't formally recognized until Congress passed a bill in 1931. The anthem has since become a staple at public events and sports games, symbolizing national pride and resilience. Question 9. Which U.S. city has the busiest airport by passenger traffic? Your options are: Option A, LAX. Option B, Atlanta, ATL. Option C, Chicago O'Hare. Option D, Dallas-Fort Worth. The correct option is option B. Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport, ATL, is consistently the busiest airport in the U.S. by passenger traffic, thanks to its location in the southeast and role as Delta Air Lines' main hub. ATL serves more than 100 million passengers annually. Its efficiency and high flight frequency make it a central connector for both domestic and international travel. ATL's prominence also reflects Georgia's economic and transportation importance nationwide. Question 10. Which U.S. state does not observe daylight saving time? Your options are: Option A, Arizona. Option B, Nevada. Option C, Florida. Option D, Oregon. The correct option is option A. Arizona does not observe daylight saving time, DST, except for the Navajo Nation. The state opted out in 1968, citing concerns about extreme summer heat and energy usage. Unlike most of the country, Arizona doesn't shift clocks forward in spring or back in fall, resulting in consistent daylight hours year-round. This decision is based on practicality for the state's climate. Hawaii also doesn't observe DST. These exceptions show how states can opt out based on local needs. Question 11. What was the first state to join the United States after the original 13 colonies? Your options are: Option A, Vermont. Option B, Kentucky. Option C, Tennessee. Option D, Ohio. The correct option is option A. Vermont was the first state to join the United States after the original 13 colonies, becoming the 14th state in 1791. Before that, Vermont was an independent republic for 14 years, having declared independence from both New York and New Hampshire. Its admission set the tone for future U.S. expansion, allowing new states to enter the Union under the Constitution. Vermont's history also highlights early conflicts between state claims and the federal structure of the young nation. Question 12. Which U.S. landmark was a gift from France? Your options are: Option A, Mount Rushmore. Option B, the Liberty Bell. Option C, Statue of Liberty. Option D, Lincoln Memorial. The correct option is option C. The Statue of Liberty was gifted to the U.S. by France in 1886 to honor the centennial of American independence and to celebrate the friendship between the two nations. Designed by Frederick Auguste Bartholdi and constructed with the help of Gustave Eiffel, it stands on Liberty Island in New York Harbor. It became a symbol of freedom and democracy, especially for immigrants arriving through Ellis Island in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Question 13. Which U.S. state is the largest by land area? Your options are: Option A, Texas. Option B, California. Option C, Montana. Option D, Alaska. The correct option is option D. Alaska is the largest state in the U.S. by land area, covering more than 663,000 square miles. It's more than double the size of Texas. Though it has a small population, Alaska's vast wilderness is home to glaciers, mountain ranges, and wildlife. Purchased from Russia in 1867, it became a state in 1959. The state's natural resources like oil and fisheries are vital to its economy, and its land mass makes it uniquely positioned in American geography and defense. Question 14. Which battle marked the end of the American Revolutionary War? Your options are: Option A, Battle of Saratoga. Option B, Battle of Bunker Hill. Option C, Battle of Yorktown. Option D, Battle of Lexington. The correct option is option C. The Battle of Yorktown in 1781 was the final major conflict in the American Revolutionary War. American and French forces led by George Washington and the Marquis de Lafayette trapped British General Cornwallis, forcing his surrender. This defeat ended major combat in the colonies and led directly to peace negotiations. The Treaty of Paris in 1783 formally ended the war and recognized the independence of the United States. Yorktown is remembered as a key turning point in U.S. history. Question 15. What river is the longest in the United States? Your options are: Option A, Mississippi River. Option B, Yukon River. Option C, Colorado River. Option D, Missouri River. The correct option is option D. The Missouri River is the longest river in the U.S., stretching over 2,341 miles. It begins in the Rocky Mountains of western Montana and flows through multiple states before merging with the Mississippi River. Though the Mississippi is more famous, the Missouri technically extends farther. The river played a vital role in the westward expansion and was a major route for explorers like Lewis and Clark. Today, it serves as a water source and transportation route for the Midwest. Question 16. Who was the first U.S. Secretary of the Treasury? Your options are: Option A, Alexander Hamilton. Option B, Thomas Jefferson. Option C, John Adams. Option D, James Madison. The correct option is option A. Alexander Hamilton was appointed the first Secretary of the Treasury by President George Washington in 1789. He created the National Bank, established credit, and laid the groundwork for America's financial system. His policies and vision helped transform the young U.S. into an economic power. Question 17. Which U.S. president signed the Emancipation Proclamation? Your options are: Option A, Andrew Jackson. Option B, Abraham Lincoln. Option C, Ulysses S. Option D, Franklin D. The correct option is option B. Explanation: Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 during the Civil War. It declared enslaved people in Confederate states free and changed the purpose of the war to include the fight against slavery. This act paved the way for the 13th Amendment. Question 18. What U.S. state is known as the land of 10,000 lakes? Your options are: Option A, Wisconsin. Option B, Minnesota. Option C, Michigan. Option D, Idaho. The correct option is option B. Minnesota earned the nickname Land of 10,000 Lakes due to its over 11,000 lakes. These lakes were formed by glacial movement and are central to the state's culture, economy, and outdoor lifestyle. Boating, fishing, and tourism are vital to Minnesota's identity. Question 19. Which U.S. president had a home called Monticello? Your options are: Option A, George Washington. Option B, James Monroe. Option C, Thomas Jefferson. Option D, John Adams. The correct option is option C. Thomas Jefferson designed and lived in Monticello, a neoclassical mansion in Virginia. It reflects his Enlightenment ideals and architectural creativity. Monticello remains a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a symbol of Jefferson's legacy, both brilliant and controversial. Question 20. Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution abolished slavery? Your options are Option A, 13th Amendment, Option B, 14th Amendment, Option C, 15th Amendment, Option D, 12th Amendment. The correct option is Option A. The 13th Amendment was ratified in 1865, abolishing slavery and involuntary servitude in the U.S. except as a punishment for crime. It legally ended slavery, a major achievement of the Civil War, and became a cornerstone of American freedom and civil rights. Question 21. Which ocean borders the east coast of the United States? Your options are Option A, Pacific Ocean, Option B, Atlantic Ocean, Option C, Indian Ocean, Option D, Arctic Ocean. The correct option is Option B. The Atlantic Ocean lies along the eastern U.S. coast, from Maine to Florida. It has historical significance for exploration, trade, and immigration. Major ports like New York and Boston played key roles in early American history and continue to be vital today. Question 22. What is the smallest U.S. state by land area? Your options are Option A, Delaware, Option B, Rhode Island, Option C, Connecticut, Option D, New Hampshire. The correct option is Option B. Rhode Island, covering about 1,000 square miles, is the smallest state. Despite its size, it played a major role in colonial history and was the first to declare independence from Britain. It is known for its coastal beauty and colonial towns. Question 23. Who wrote the U.S. national anthem? Your options are Option A, George Washington, Option B, Thomas Paine, Option C, Francis Scott Key, Option D, John Philip Sousa. The correct option is Option C. Francis Scott Key wrote the Star-Spangled Banner in 1814 after witnessing the British attack on Fort McHenry. The poem, originally titled Defense of Fort McHenry, was later set to music and became the national anthem in 1931. Question 24. Which U.S. state was the last to become a state? Your options are Option A, Alaska, Option B, Arizona, Option C, New Mexico, Option D, Hawaii. The correct option is Option D. Hawaii became the 50th state in 1959. It was previously a sovereign kingdom and later a U.S. territory. Hawaii's location in the Pacific makes it culturally and geographically unique among the states. Question 25. What is the national flower of the United States? Your options are Option A, sunflower, Option B, tulip, Option C, rose, Option D, daisy. The correct option is Option C. The rose was designated the national flower in 1986 for its symbolism of love, honor, and strength. With varieties in every state and deep cultural ties, the rose represents both beauty and resilience in American identity. Question 26. What is the capital of the U.S. state of Texas? Your options are Option A, Dallas, Option B, Houston, Option C, Austin, Option D, San Antonio. The correct option is Option C. Austin is the capital of Texas, known for its music, tech industry, and progressive culture. It houses the Texas Capitol and the University of Texas. Despite being smaller than Houston or Dallas, it's a key political and cultural hub. Austin is also called the live music capital of the world, attracting creatives and entrepreneurs alike. Question 27. Which war was fought between the North and South regions in the United States? Your options are Option A, World War I, Option B, the Civil War, Option C, the Revolutionary War, Option D, the War of 1812. The correct option is Option B, the U.S. Civil War, 1861 to 1865, was fought between the Northern Union and the Southern Confederacy over slavery and states' rights. It ended with the abolition of slavery and preserved the Union. Over 600,000 people died, making it the deadliest conflict in U.S. history. Question 28. Which U.S. state is famous for the Derby horse race? Your options are Option A, Tennessee, Option B, Texas, Option C, Kentucky, Option D, Virginia. The correct option is Option C. Kentucky is home to the Kentucky Derby, held annually since 1875 at Churchill Downs in Louisville. It is part of the Triple Crown and known for traditions like mint juleps and big hats. The event celebrates the culture of horse racing and Southern hospitality. Question 29. Who was the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic Ocean? Your options are: Option A, Amelia Earhart. Option B, Harriet Quimby. Option C, Bessie Coleman. Option D, Jacqueline Cochran. The correct option is option A. Amelia Earhart flew solo across the Atlantic in 1932. She flew from Canada to Ireland, becoming an international icon and breaking gender barriers. She was known for her courage, advocacy for women, and her mysterious disappearance in 1937 during a world flight attempt. Question 30. Which U.S. president delivered the Gettysburg Address? Your options are: Option A, George Washington. Option B, Thomas Jefferson. Option C, Theodore Roosevelt. Option D, Abraham Lincoln. The correct option is option D. Abraham Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address on November 19, 1863, at a cemetery dedication after a major Civil War battle. In just 272 words, he redefined the purpose of the war, emphasizing liberty, equality, and democracy. It remains one of the most iconic American speeches. Question 31. What natural wonder is located on the border of Arizona and Utah? Your options are: Option A, Mount Rushmore. Option B, Grand Canyon. Option C, Monument Valley. Option D, Niagara Falls. The correct option is option C. Monument Valley is a scenic region on the Arizona-Utah border, famous for towering red sandstone formations. It lies within Navajo land and is a sacred place with cultural and spiritual meaning. It's a popular filming location and a top U.S. tourist attraction. Question 32. Which document begins with "We the People"? Your options are: Option A, the Declaration of Independence. Option B, the Constitution of the United States. Option C, the Bill of Rights. Option D, the Emancipation Proclamation. The correct option is option B. The U.S. Constitution begins with "We the People," showing that government power comes from citizens. Ratified in 1788, it outlines the structure and functions of the federal government and protects rights through amendments. It's the supreme law of the land. Question 33. What U.S. holiday honors military veterans? Your options are: Option A, Memorial Day. Option B, Veterans Day. Option C, Independence Day. Option D, Labor Day. The correct option is option B. Veterans Day is observed on November 11th to honor all military veterans. It began as Armistice Day after World War I and became Veterans Day in 1954. It honors all U.S. military service members, living and deceased, unlike Memorial Day, which honors only the fallen. Question 34. Which city was the first capital of the United States? Your options are: Option A, Philadelphia. Option B, New York City. Option C, Washington, D.C. Option D, Boston. The correct option is option B. New York City was the first U.S. capital under the Constitution, 1789 to 1790. George Washington was inaugurated there. Congress met at Federal Hall, though it was soon replaced by Philadelphia and then Washington, D.C. NYC was vital in shaping early American governance. Question 35. Which U.S. state is nicknamed the Sunshine State? Your options are: Option A, California. Option B, Nevada. Option C, Arizona. Option D, Florida. The correct option is option D. Florida is known as the Sunshine State because of its warm, sunny weather and popularity as a tourist destination. Officially adopted in 1970, the nickname highlights Florida's appeal with its beaches, theme parks, and agriculture, especially citrus fruits. Question 36. Which U.S. state has the most active volcanoes? Your options are: Option A, California. Option B, Alaska. Option C, Hawaii. Option D, Washington. The correct option is option B. Alaska has more active volcanoes than any other U.S. state, with over 130 volcanoes and volcanic fields. Most of these are found in the Aleutian Islands, which lie on the Pacific Ring of Fire, a tectonically active zone. These volcanoes are regularly monitored by the Alaska Volcano Observatory to ensure public safety and protect air traffic from volcanic ash clouds. Unlike Hawaii's more famous eruptions, Alaska's volcanic activity often goes unnoticed by the general public, but it plays a vital role in Earth's geological processes and scientific research. It's a true volcanic powerhouse of North America. Question 37. What landmark symbolizes U.S. immigration and was the first site for many immigrants arriving by sea? Your options are: Option A, Statue of Liberty. Option B, Ellis Island. Option C, Brooklyn Bridge. Option D, Empire State Building. The correct option is Option A, the Statue of Liberty. A gift from France in 1886. Stands on Liberty Island in New York Harbor and became a powerful symbol of freedom and opportunity for immigrants arriving by sea. Standing over 300 feet tall, it was the first sight many newcomers saw after long, difficult journeys. Nearby Ellis Island processed over 12 million immigrants. But Lady Liberty herself represented the hope of a new life. The statue's inscription, "Give me your tired, your poor," reflects American ideals. Today, it remains a global icon of democracy, liberty, and the immigrant experience that shaped the nation. Question 38. Which amendment to the U.S. Constitution guarantees freedom of speech? Your options are: Option A, Second Amendment. Option B, First Amendment. Option C, Fourth Amendment. Option D, 10th Amendment. The correct option is Option B, the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, ratified in 1791, protects several fundamental rights, including freedom of speech, religion, press, assembly, and the right to petition the government. It ensures that people can express their opinions without government censorship or punishment. This amendment has shaped the American identity and remains central to debates about civil liberties. It allows citizens to criticize leaders, share beliefs, and communicate ideas freely. While there are limits, e.g., threats or defamation, its protection of open dialogue is vital for a functioning democracy and has influenced similar rights in other countries worldwide. Question 39. Which U.S. city is known as the birthplace of jazz? Your options are: Option A, Chicago. Option B, New Orleans. Option C, Memphis. Option D, Detroit. The correct option is Option B, New Orleans. Louisiana is recognized as the birthplace of jazz, a uniquely American musical genre. In the early 1900s, musicians combined African rhythms, blues, ragtime, and European influences to create a new sound. The city's cultural diversity, particularly in the Storyville district, fostered musical experimentation. Louis Armstrong, a native of New Orleans, became one of the first global jazz superstars. Parades, brass bands, and improvisation are all part of the city's deep jazz tradition. Today, New Orleans remains a vibrant hub for live music, with annual festivals like Jazz Fest honoring its legacy and continuing to inspire artists. Question 40. Which state is the leading producer of corn in the United States? Your options are: Option A, Illinois. Option B, Nebraska. Option C, Iowa. Option D, Kansas. The correct option is Option C. Iowa leads the United States in corn production, contributing significantly to the country's food and energy sectors. The state's rich soil, moderate rainfall, and flat terrain create perfect growing conditions. Most of Iowa's corn is field corn, used for livestock feed, ethanol production, and processed food ingredients. Corn farming is deeply rooted in Iowa's economy and culture, employing thousands of people. The corn industry also supports transportation, manufacturing, and technology. Iowa's leadership in sustainable farming and innovation makes it not only the top producer, but also a model for modern agricultural practices. It's truly America's corn capital. Question 41. Who was the U.S. president during the Great Depression and World War II? Your options are: Option A, Herbert Hoover. Option B, Harry S. Truman. Option C, Franklin D. Roosevelt. Option D, Woodrow Wilson. The correct option is Option C, Franklin D. Roosevelt, known as FDR, was the 32nd U.S. president and served 4 terms from 1933 to 1945. He led the nation through the Great Depression with the New Deal, a series of programs aimed at economic recovery and social reform. During World War II, he strengthened the U.S. military and formed crucial alliances with Britain and the Soviet Union. FDR is the only president elected to 4 terms and is remembered for his strong leadership, fireside chats, and expanding the federal government's role. His efforts fundamentally reshaped American society. economy, and global influence in the 20th century. Question 42. Which desert is the largest in the United States? Your options are: Option A, Great Basin Desert. Option B, Mojave Desert. Option C, Sonoran Desert. Option D, Chihuahuan Desert. The correct option is option A. The Great Basin Desert is the largest desert in the United States, covering most of Nevada and parts of Utah, California, and Oregon. Unlike hot deserts like the Mojave, it's a cold desert with snowy winters and hot, dry summers. It is defined more by its arid climate and internal drainage system than by sand dunes. The region is home to sagebrush, mountain ranges, salt flats, and unique wildlife. Scientists study the Great Basin to understand desert ecosystems, climate change, and prehistoric life. Though lesser known, it is vast, ecologically rich, and important to Western geography and conservation. Question 43. Which Native American tribe built cliff dwellings in Mesa Verde? Your options are: Option A, Apache. Option B, Navajo. Option C, Ancestral Puebloans. Option D, Cherokee. The correct option is option C, the Ancestral Puebloans, sometimes called the Anasazi, built elaborate cliff dwellings in Mesa Verde, Colorado, around 600 to 1300 CE. These multi-room structures were carved into sandstone cliffs and accessed by ladders or hand-and-toe holds. The dwellings were often used for shelter, storage, and ceremonial purposes. The architecture displayed advanced building skills and planning. Mesa Verde is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and offers deep insight into the lives of ancient Southwest Native Americans. The reason for their sudden departure remains a mystery, but climate change and resource scarcity are likely factors. Their legacy lives on through modern Pueblo tribes. Question 44. What is the largest lake entirely within the United States? Your options are: Option A, Lake Michigan. Option B, Lake Superior. Option C, Great Salt Lake. Option D, Lake Tahoe. The correct option is option A. Lake Michigan is the largest lake located entirely within the United States, covering roughly 22,400 square miles. It is one of the 5 Great Lakes and is bordered by Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. Though Lake Superior is larger, it is shared with Canada, making Lake Michigan the largest U.S. only Great Lake. It supports commercial shipping, drinking water, fishing, and recreation for millions. Chicago, Milwaukee, and other cities rely on it for tourism and economy. The lake's beaches, dunes, and scenic views also make it a popular travel destination and a vital part of the Midwest's ecosystem. Question 45. Which civil rights leader delivered the "I Have a Dream" speech in 1963? Your options are: Option A, Malcolm X. Option B, Martin Luther King Jr. Option C, Frederick Douglass. Option D, Booker T. Washington. The correct option is option B, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his iconic "I Have a Dream" speech on August 28, 1963, during the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. Standing at the Lincoln Memorial, he spoke to over 250,000 people about racial justice, equality, and a vision of a future without segregation. His speech was a turning point in the civil rights movement and helped galvanize public support for the Civil Rights Act of 1964. King's message emphasized nonviolence and unity. His powerful words, "I have a dream," remain etched in American history as a beacon of hope and progress for future generations. Question 46. Which U.S. city hosted the first modern Olympic Games held in the United States? Your options are: Option A, St. Louis. Option B, New York City. Option C, Atlanta. Option D, Los Angeles. The correct option is option A, St. Louis, Missouri, hosted the first modern Olympic Games on U.S. soil in 1904. Held alongside the World's Fair, the event faced challenges such as poor international participation due to travel difficulties and the Russo-Japanese War. Despite this, it marked a historic moment for the U.S. in global sports. St. Louis introduced innovations like gold, silver, and bronze medals and held events like the marathon under extreme conditions. Though less organized by modern standards, these Olympics helped establish the U.S. as a major athletic nation and set the stage for future successful games hosted on American soil. Question 47. What is the official residence of the Vice President of the United States? Your options are: Option A, Capitol Hill Residence. Option B, Blair House. Option C, number 1 Observatory Circle. Option D, Mount Vernon. The correct option is option C, the official residence of the U.S. Vice President is number 1 Observatory Circle, located on the grounds of the U.S. Naval Observatory in Washington, D.C. It became the VP's official home in 1974 when the government decided it was more secure and practical than private accommodations. The house was originally built in 1893 for the superintendent of the Naval Observatory. Since then, it has housed every vice president from Walter Mondale to Kamala Harris. Though not as famous as the White House, it plays a vital role in official duties and offers a secure, dignified living space for the nation's second highest leader. Question 48. Which U.S. state was the last to join the Union? Your options are: Option A, Alaska. Option B, Arizona. Option C, New Mexico. Option D, Hawaii. The correct option is option D. Hawaii became the 50th and most recent state to join the United States on August 21, 1959. Located in the Pacific Ocean, it is the only U.S. state composed entirely of islands. Hawaii's unique culture, history, and strategic military location made it significant even before statehood. It was once an independent kingdom, then a U.S. territory after annexation in 1898. Statehood brought full congressional representation and civil rights to its residents. Its admission was widely supported by Hawaiians and mainland Americans, and it remains an essential part of the U.S., culturally, economically, and geopolitically. Question 49. What U.S. government agency was created in response to the September 11th attacks? Your options are: Option A, NSA. Option B, TSA. Option C, Homeland Security. Option D, FEMA. The correct option is option C. The Department of Homeland Security, DHS, was established in 2002 in response to the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. It consolidated 22 federal agencies, including FEMA, TSA, and U.S. Customs and Border Protection, to better coordinate national security and emergency responses. The DHS focuses on protecting U.S. territory from terrorism, managing border security, immigration enforcement, and cyber threats. The formation of DHS marked the most significant government restructuring since World War II. Its creation reflected the urgency for unified national preparedness and remains a cornerstone of the nation's defense and disaster response framework today. Question 50. Which U.S. document begins with the words "We the People"? Your options are: Option A, the Declaration of Independence. Option B, the Constitution. Option C, the Bill of Rights. Option D, the Articles of Confederation. The correct option is option B. The U.S. Constitution begins with the famous preamble "We the People," symbolizing the idea that government derives its power from the citizens. Ratified in 1788, it established the framework for the federal government, including the separation of powers and checks and balances. The phrase "We the People" reflects the core principle of democracy, that authority comes not from monarchs or elites, but from ordinary citizens. This concept laid the foundation for American governance and inspired democratic movements worldwide. The Constitution remains the supreme law of the land and a living document that guides U.S. law and society.